Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm a midwife, and I'm going to talk to you about the first stage of labor. The stages of labor are not necessarily a perfect delineation like some people think of sometimes, but basically there's early labor, which can also sometimes be called latent labor or prodromal labor, or sometimes false labor can be very similar. And then there's active labor, which also includes transition, and then that goes into pushing, and the final stage is birthing the placenta after you've already birthed the baby. And the whole process can take from as little as a couple of hours to many, many more than that. It's really, really variable for every birthing person and their baby. Early labor, for most people, feels like a lot of excitement and anticipation, definitely some discomfort. A lot of people describe early labor as a time where they're noticing some contractions, they're starting to feel crampy and uncomfortable. It might feel a lot like period cramps, and usually they still notice the baby moving, and a lot of people start doing some nesting and getting really excited and tend to want to stay awake because they're excited to meet their baby. Ideally, during early labor, we want you to keep doing what you'd normally be doing. So if you'd be at work, go to work. If you'd be baking some cookies, bake your cookies. If you'd be sleeping, get some sleep now while you can. Active labor is when things start getting more intense, when you're really having to use your coping techniques. What I always tell people, a lot of times our families are a little bit worried about, how am I gonna know when it's active? How am I gonna know when it's time to come in? Everybody copes differently with labor. Some people are really loud, some people are really quiet, some people are really calm, some are really anxious and need a lot of support from their companions. But the big difference is you need something to be different during active labor. You're not just doing what you've been doing for the last few weeks of your life. So maybe you're really quiet and internal and you're closing your eyes and you're just, or maybe you're kind of more of a barnyard animal type like I was, and you're starting to make some mooing sounds. But there's a shift from excitability and a little bit of discomfort to, this is definitely taking my concentration. I'm needing my support people, and I maybe need it to be dark or quiet, or need music or my Hypnobabies tracks. Transition is definitely pretty much the most intense part of labor, and for most people it's also the shortest stage, and it's typically when your contractions or surges are kind of one on top of another. There's not as much time to rest and relax in between, and you really have to find that inner calm and be able to kind of ride those waves and take advantages of the little bits of rest you do get, because you're not getting long stretches of rest in transition. It can be very intense, and this is when a lot of women do sort of get a little bit more scared or say, maybe I do want the epidural, or I think I need some more help. And most of the time, with a little bit of reassurance, especially if unmedicated birth is something you've really been hoping and planning for, we can get you through that stage. It's also a time when women very commonly end up using the nitrous, because it can really help, that laughing gas can really help take the edge off, and most importantly can reduce anxiety, so you're able to just kind of breathe through them and moan through them rather than fighting it and just kind of working with your body and getting through it.